Okay, we are going to start to make the top now. The top is a 14 by 14 inch square, and it's about 3/4 of an inch thick. So to do that, again, we're gonna need to glue up some boards here. So we want the boards to be 1 inch thick rough. So using the example of my the pieces I didn't use for the rails, I'm going to use these for the top, my leftovers. I need to get these to be 1 inch thick that way. To do that, I'm going to go over to the joiner and then joint the edge like we saw earlier. And then I'm going to go to the table saw and rip these down to 1 inch. So I'll turn you around so you can see what I'm doing. And I'll do one board with you, and then I'll do some without you. So again, I'm going to go over to the joiner, make sure that I have a nice clean edge, just like that. Go ahead and get the dust collectors on for that. Again, I want to make sure that I wrap my left hand around the guard. So with that nice clean edge, let's go to the table saw. I'm going to rip this down to 1 inch. So I'll set the table saw for 1 inch. Make sure my push stick is handy. The jointed edge goes against the fence. And I'll just keep ripping boards down. The other two boards on the edge jointed. I'll go ahead and rip those while I'm at it. This knot right here looks a little bit suspect. I'm not going to cut it. So what we have here is a good start to a top. These boards are 1 inch thick. They're flat on a face and a face. We glue them together. And all we got to do now is make a bunch more pieces of wood to make it a little over 14 long or wide, and then about 16 long. So to do that, actually, let's go over here and see what we got. Walk you over to the scrap bin. It's good to get rid of some scraps if you can. So here at the scrap pile, you see a board like this. That might work. This board here might work. There's a board. As long as they're over about 16 inches, which these are, they should work. Try to get some different colors in there. So here's some boards here. They're thin, but once you plane them down, they'll be wide enough to work. As long as they're over 16, I'm gonna get some more here. Okay, we have all the pieces we need for the top now. Every piece I have is going to be flat on 2 faces and at least 1 inch thick in one diameter or 1 dimension. So we need to glue these up so that we have the rough thickness is 1 inch. So this is one of those things you really got to check with me before you glue it together. So don't glue it together till I see it clamped up. So I'm just going to double check this. I got all of these except for 2 cut to about 16 inches. The top is going to be 14 by 14, but I want it to be a little bit longer than 14. So this piece here is not exactly flat all the way. See, it's got that little roughness there. I'm going to set that aside for now. You'll notice that I have 2 pieces that are quite a bit longer. As I'm putting this together, try to think to yourself, why are those pieces longer? Okay, looking at this top here, I want to check a few things. I'm going to tighten it. Tighten the clamp. Make sure that it's nice and flat. Make sure that I can get a 14-inch board out of here, which I can because it's over 14. Make sure I can get a 14 out of this way, which I can't because it's only 13 and a half. So I'll go ahead and stick this piece of wood back in, but put it to the outside so I can cut that little imperfection off later. Let me double check my measurement here. So I'm a little bit over 14, so that should work. Okay, so now if you're still guessing as to why I have those long pieces in, it's because when we run it through the planer, these long pieces will help it run through the planer easier. And we'll cut those off later. So I'm going to glue all this up the same way I did before. And we're just going to flip it over, run a line of glue on that flat piece, and keep stacking up the wood like this. Line up one end relatively close. Doesn't have to be perfect, but do take a little bit of time to get it more or less lined up. And once that's done, okay, so I want you to pay attention to this part right here. Did you see how it comes up a little bit? Well, it came up a little bit. Put some pressure down, it comes back down. So again, these clamps are kind of funny. You want to make sure when you first tighten them, loosen them, make sure they're situated on the bar. Same thing, again, it's going to pop up a little bit here. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but it kind of comes up. Tighten it, give it a loosen, push down. And then come down here and look at it to make sure it's flat. So you want to make sure it's not doing one of these. And then tighten. And that one goes on top. There's your top all gluing together.